Okay.
All right, got the notification. Awesome. All right. First off, before I begin, just want to make sure you can hear me clearly, correct?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
Awesome. All right, Gus. Well, I just want to start off again, really just by, glad that you reached out to ChiroMatrix. I'm very much excited to talk to you guys about some of the things that we are doing with, the overall topic of weight loss. So I want to start off by actually talking to you about who we are as a company. I think it's important for people to know, at least what type of agency that we are. We are a full scale company. And what we really mean by that overall, Gus, is that we primarily focus on targeting ideal patients, and we have several channels or avenues that we open up within our marketing agency to implement for clients. And that's like starting from websites, starting from the ground and up to social media, primarily marketing Google's market, from Google Ads to SEO. I mean, it's pretty safe to say that we do pretty much everything. So
So you guys are a
Chiron,
one-stop shop, like with digital advertising, like an agency. You can provide our our network chiropractors everything from A to Z.
from A to Z, I mean, we're talking about even, excuse me, email communications, text message reminders, listing directories, like audit systems where we clean up all of their information. I mean, you name it, we can pretty much do. We even offer telehealth, which could even be very helpful, I think, in the category that you guys are in with weight loss, especially during the period of COVID. A lot of our nutritionist clients that primarily focused on wellness did very well on telehealth during that time period. So, I mean, overall, we're a very full scale, one stop shop under one umbrella. But I would even go as far as to say, too, that ChiroMatrix as a whole, as a company, we've been around for almost 20 years. So it's pretty safe to say that most chiropractors know who we are. I mean, I think us being, I think we always remind people when we think about the digital space and how the internet overall has been booming, that 10 years ago, ChiroMatrix as a company, we were the ones that were preaching to chiropractors the importance of the internet. And I think it's safe to say now that some of the biggest lessons that have been learned by COVID-19 is that if you're a business, no matter what field that you're in, but especially in the medical field or health field, you're not monetizing on the internet. If you don't have a digital footprint, you're absolutely losing out on a big chunk of the market, because we're in an era of information. So most people are no longer carrying like yellow books or phone books around. They're accessing the internet for information, and we've been able to help clients reach and build relationships by implementing access online. So let's
So
that's
you're
kind of
not just, so you guys aren't just for chiropractors. Like you can help pretty much anybody get started.
uh, so I primarily we primarily work with chiropractors. We do work with two other industries that's in within the health space, with ophthalmologists and optometrists and veterinarians, and physical therapists. But I would say primarily overall as an agency, chiropractic is mostly what we encompass most of our clients with.
All
Like
right,
that's our bread and butter.
got it.
But one thing about us as a company that I do want to talk to you about, Gus, that I think is very important to make clear when we think about who you can trust as an agency. And that's really going to boil down to our Google Premier partnership, which is right here. And really, what this means, being a Google Premier partner, is that Google, as a conglomerate company, pretty much put us through a very rigorous process to be accepted into this elite status, so to speak. We were actually challenged in 2015 for, or no, excuse me, in 2013 for 3 years to perform for Google and show that not only our clients are showing up on the top 1% of their search engine, but that our sites had a high quality score, and that our websites have high user engagement, a friendly user experience, mobile responsive, which then those were very big key components of what they wanted for our sites and for our clients to have a success on their algorithms. Since then, it has evolved, which I'll talk to you about throughout our meeting. But once we were able to perform for them 3 years and show them that data, then they awarded us a premier partnership. Now the
So yeah,
catch
you guys
is,
had to jump through hoops to become a Google Premier partner.
Yeah, every company does. Anybody who decides to be a premier partner with Google, it's not something that you simply apply and say you're qualified for. I mean, they really put you through a position where you actually have to perform for them. So yeah, it was definitely something we had to prove ourselves as an agency to be trusted, because this is the highest award that you can get with Google. I think there's only
Oh,
about, yeah, I
okay.
think there's only maybe like 500 companies in the whole world that have it. We're one of the only chiropractic specific agencies. All of this information, by the way, that we're talking about is all published by Google. You can look all of this up, not just like randomly saying this, but yeah, there's not that many people who have it. So it's something that we're very proud of. And you know, it's something obviously that for us where we benefit from being a premier partner. And in full scale, everybody really benefits that works with us. But where we come into play and we kind of take advantage of this opportunity with having this premier partnership is they're pretty much vetting information to us. Every single year we meet with them, we have a contact with Google where they start telling us, giving us an update of where they see the most visibility from brands, what we're talking about new shift in trends. We're talking about different keywords that have a higher volume, which I'll talk to you throughout this meeting. But where our clients are benefiting from is being verified as a trusted agency. And I think for you guys, maybe, you know, in the past, if you've done marketing before, I think it's safe to say that it's, you know, we all kind of go through this process of figuring out who we can trust, who can really perform, who can really deliver. And I don't think anybody can say that Google as a corporate company has verified you as a marketing company. We can say that. You know what I mean? So
Oh,
that's
that's
something that
good
we're
to
very
know.
proud of, for
That's
sure.
good to know.
Um, so the other thing I want to talk to you about is, because obviously I wanted to talk a little bit about who we are and what we do. I do want to show you exactly what we primarily focus on, and what I have brought up for you. Here is one of our client examples, who primarily focuses on nutrition, wellness, and weight loss. Keep in mind, we do work with over 40 skins. This is exactly what he wanted and what works for him. So if visuals is something that you're not necessarily happy about, keep in mind this is what they wanted, and we would like to deliver what the client wants to see on their side and what how they want to identify as a vision.
I see.
I always
So they
remind,
asked to customize. They asked to look like this. So they wanted this to be. I mean, what I'm looking at is pretty much how the customer wanted his website to look like.
yes, exactly. And to be fair, if you want to be completely honest, I actually have different skins that I'm going to show you in a second as well that are visually, aesthetically, they're my favorite. But what he is doing and the way that his model is built out is what I love the most. And that's something also to think about as well from a marketing and a business perspective too, is that, you know, Google doesn't care about you having the most beautiful website. Honestly, they don't. What they really care about is how resourceful, how relevant, and how coded well your website really is. And he's a perfect example of that. Because if you look at his site, you know, I mean, and for some, you might think of this as, you know, a really nice website, which it really is. It's nice. But what's most important is all of this information here. So, excuse me, we have so much content in here that we're producing for him that we're writing on a monthly basis so that he could rank higher on Google and overall be the #1 chiropractor for several key terms. He does have an integrated approach on the way that he approaches healthcare. And I think that makes him more accessible. And that's something to keep in mind too, is that implementing SOZA weight loss to help people achieve not only a healthier lifestyle, build more confidence, and, you know, and share that experience to other colleagues and families. One of the biggest ways to do that is by educating people on the importance of what changes they can implement to like an office like chiropractic, and putting information on your website is absolutely key. So when we think about the site overall, the production of it is the most important thing, um, when we think about what our website should really be doing, is making sure that it's driving traffic. What avenues are we doing for that? But I want to scroll down through here. I am going to cover the site and link later on, but really what I want to show you is also other avenues that are important for Google, which is social media. So just, I wanted to show you this as an example. We'll cover this in a second in link. But one thing that I want to talk to you guys as well is that social media right now overall is absolutely necessary. I mean,
In
I wouldn't
terms
even know if,
of like, is it necessary that it's linked to the website, or is it important that it's that? So are you telling me that you guys optimize the Facebook page too?
yes, we do. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about now.
I
Yes, it's
see.
absolutely necessary to the website, but it's almost more necessary to just in general have a social media presence. Whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Twitter. We primarily encourage based on our experience and the relationship that we've had with them since 2015, um, that Instagram and Facebook are primarily the components that Google takes a look at. They have recently shifted into YouTube. And one of the main reasons why they've shifted into YouTube is because Google actually owns YouTube. So if you're a person who's already utilizing YouTube and putting videos out on their platform, they're rewarding you for that because you're using their brother slash sister company, so to speak.
So that's a
So
freebie here then. Optimize. Everybody should optimize on YouTube.
yeah, so we primarily will only be managing Facebook and Instagram because what we would be doing is we post 3 times on Facebook and once a week on Instagram because we also don't want to overload the social postings. What we
Did
typically,
you say 3 times a week on Facebook?
yes, that's correct.
I see. And that's like, from your experience, that's what's required. Like, that's enough. Does it mean
That's a good starting point.
it's
That's
a good
definitely a good
starting
starting
point?
point. Yeah. What we would actually recommend is this. So let's say that we are posting Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. These are all of our posts. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, what we typically encourage, and when we talk about postings, by the way, um, that's like a regular post, and there's going to be like imagery or like the importance of common reasons of back pain. But we also put out published articles that have been
Oh,
published in established journals, healthcare directories that support chiropractic ideology, chiropractic standards. And so we put those out on our content for social media as well, if I'm showing you his page. But the 2 days that we're not posting on the weekly basis, what we see the most success from is success stories. And I think a lot of people forget about that. And whenever they think about what type of content I can post on social media, some people get super stressed out. And it's actually fairly easy. Most of the content that you have available to your practice, you're actually doing every day. And that is treating people, that is helping people. And if you're especially in the category that your clients are in, Gus, which is weight loss, I mean, success journeys, people love to see that. If you're a person who's been struggling with weight loss problems all of your life, and you finally met someone who's guided you in the right path to not only be accountable, but be responsible, be much healthier, and you're documenting that whole success journey, those Tuesdays and Thursdays is when you should be absolutely showcasing those specific patients that have literally gone through such a success with your practice, wherever it is it may be, so to speak. And that overall is going to gravitate towards people. It's going to allow people to connect with you. It's going to be more relatable. That's what we typically encourage for people who we are helping managing their social media.
so I
And
noticed
I'm,
every post has a link to the website as well. So, like, I see you guys put a picture, and you also put the like, Dr. Phillips Cairo here as well. Like, each post has a link to his website. So you're optimizing both at the same time in a way.
yes, exactly. Absolutely. Um, because you're also creating backlinks to add to what you're saying. You make a really good point, Gus, and I'm glad you pointed that out because overall, what we want to promote is the website. We do this because we want people who are accessing his social media to immediately go to his site and start requesting an appointment. All of our websites, as you can see, have what we call to action marketing. And what that
In
really
your
pulls down,
face, like, it's right there. It's right there in your face.
exactly. It's literally right in your face. And that's what you want. You want people to be convinced right away to make an appointment because that's what we want. People have such a short attention span that we don't want to make things confusing. So that's exactly what this will do. It creates backlinks. It shuffles back and forth to different platforms that are still related to Phillips Chiropractic, Nutrition and Wellness. And that's what you want to do. You want to create many backlinks, which our sites do. The other thing I want to talk to you about that I think is very important is overall the presence of Google. And I'm using Dr. Phillips as an example, just you got to see what we're doing with this client, how successful he is. But I actually put a topic in Orlando, Florida, because I know we talked about Florida a lot. And we're going to start off with this keyword here, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the system of Google and
So
how
you're
it's actually.
showing, so you're showing me right now about, you're showing me, like we're taking an example right now, Orlando, Florida, about like weight loss in Orlando, Florida.
Yes. So what I'm going to use is, so right now what I'm going to show you is keywords that have high volume that incorporate weight loss within Google search engine in the zip code area of Orlando, Florida. And the first one that I'm going to start with is medical weight loss near me. And I'm going to scroll all the way down to the very bottom. And I need you to confirm for me, Gus. Can you see Orlando, Florida right here?
I do, yeah.
Okay. So whenever we became a Google Premier partner, we gained what they call a tool called Bright Local. And what that tool gave us from Google is it started sharing us on a worldwide scale where we could see who actually ranks on the first page of Google for any keyword across the board. That's what I'm using now. This is what is most likely 99.99 accurate on the first page of Google currently for medical weight loss management. Now, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the system of Google. Stop me if you have questions, so I know it can get very informative. So the top section here, which would be a really great strategy as well for at least clients who are looking to primarily promote weight loss. I know it can vary on the grand scale of revenue for different practices. Everyone operates differently. I think from experience, I've realized chiropractic models, although they have a very core foundation, business-wise, everyone tends to vary. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint set numbers, but we can definitely project based off experience. But this top section here is a Google Ads section. It's
I'm sorry,
probably
what are you trying to project? You're trying to project like what a Google ad spend, what a Google ad
yeah,
spend would look like?
we'll project exactly. So let's say a practice who is running a weight loss program and the fee might be $300, $400. Some people it could be up to 600, maybe 900, depending on how long their care plans may be. So I just want to speak a bit on average terms just to make things easy. I know for anybody who is doing weight loss programs, it is going to vary in terms of the return based off how the length of it is, their treatment, how long they're keeping that patient for retention. So whenever we're talking about numbers, I'm just going to speak on an average scale to make things very easy.
Okay.
Does that make sense? I'm not sure if I answered your question, Gus.
Yeah.
Okay. So this top section here is going to be the fastest way to drive traffic. Probably you can consider this a very hot spot right now for Google. The reason why is because whenever COVID happened, most of us were shuffled in at home, weren't really allowed to do very much. And I think people became very health conscious, and some of us also gained a lot of weight. So weight loss and medical weight loss near me, overall, this keyword term is really at its all-time high. So this could not be a better time to be promoting weight loss or to be pushing that in your business. With everything
I've never seen 4 ads. I've always seen 2 ads. Like this is the first time I've seen 4 ads showing for like a Google, like 4 Google ads.
The reason why is because Orlando is a very, very, very populated city. So whenever we think, so if you have any clients that are in Orlando, or if you know anybody that's running advertisement, the Orlando is such a competitive city that if you're not running advertisement, you're pretty much invisible, to be honest.
Yeah, and if you're not running ads with a professional too, then I mean, either you are a professional running ads. I mean, because it's so competitive, they need to be with a professional. That's my opinion, actually.
No, they do. And here's another thing too, is I mean, as you can see, there's 4 businesses who are running advertisement on weight loss. Now, in respect, not all of them are clinics. Here's one that's a clinic. Here's one as well. But if you look at here, Groupon, this is just, it looks like it's just like a hypnosis clinic. And I'm not sure if this one's just a prescription, but you can see that a lot of people are running advertisements from all avenues for weight loss. So for us, this top section here, really what it's boiled down is a pay to play situation. You're gonna have to spend money to be here. Where you want to decide who you partner up with is who's going to get you the best cost per click, who's going to ensure conversion. So let's talk about that because I think it's important to understand where we get a better cost per click. Gus, can you see this new page here?
I can, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So Google created the Google Ads section because they wanted to give business the opportunity to rank, drive traffic, generate revenue in a very quick method. Because SEO, which I'll cover in a second, takes a really, really long time. And you just have, the link has to be there. It's just absolutely required. But the Google Ads section, you don't have to do that. So what they decided is once they put this Google Ads section up for people to use to monetize and bring not only brand awareness and visibility, they started, putting two different sections on who they will reward the option to pay less and who they're going to make pay more. One of the things that I always remind people as well too is that Google's really all they're all about is not only giving us the information that we want, but they're really all about making sure that whenever we are on their platform, Google, and searching information, that we have literally the best possible experience. That we're not having a miserable loading time, and that the content or the option that they deliver us are not bad options. So what they started to do is, through their algorithms, is they're rewarding people who what they consider following best practices or that are following best standards. And we know that because they share that with us every single year. And our clients,
What
because
do you mean by best standards? Like best standards on the customer's website? Like they're making sure they're putting the right things? Like,
exactly, and that's you're leading me right into what I was about to jump into, which is exactly that, which is making sure that the websites have high quality scores for a great user experience. But on top of that, that if you are running an advertisement on medical weight loss near me, for example, on this page that I was showing you here, that the content that leads to that landing page, that may lead also to the website, actually has keywords medical weight loss indexed on the website, because that means that you run a lower risk of the consumer who clicks on your advertisement of actually clicking outside of that advertisement and going somewhere else. And it also doesn't provide a negative experience. So in other words, you're a reliable source to Google and the advertisement that you're putting out. And that's why they're letting you pay less. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about now. So if I'm running an advertisement for medical weight loss and I have no content on my site that promotes it, I'm just simply running a Google ad, I'm going to pay $8.40. I'm going to pay more because Google sees you as a risk. They see you as someone who's probably not going to provide the best experience possible. So they're going to charge you more. And this is standard across any marketing company that you may speak to. But if you're a practice that has a high performing website that has content on medical weight loss, and you're also choosing to run a Google advertisement, you're already being favored, in other words, given preference by Google. So you're going to pay less.
does it take long to get to this stage? Like, does it, like, when a customer, if a customer were to start tomorrow and, open a weight loss clinic, would this take, like, are we looking at a long time for him to lower their ad spend, to be optimized?
Great. That's actually a really great question because that's Google Ads does not take a lengthy amount of time. We do need, I would say, on average, like 45 days to get everything censored out properly. Because anytime you're running advertising, especially with weight loss, if there's supplements, Google really likes to censor people. They make sure that whenever you submit your ads, they check them and make sure you're not running a malicious advertisement because things can get sketchy with some people. And so whenever we put our ads out, we go through a verification censored process where they make sure that we're not running anything malicious. And that can take up to like 45 days to be in a healthy checkpoint. I think your censoring process is about like a week or so. And then after that, we evolve into the imprint and indexing, which is all these little stages that we kind of cover. But just the timeline to be in a healthy checkpoint and ready to go, we're looking at 45 days.
So as a Google Premier partner, you are able to, because sometimes like ads can get rejected, right? Like especially with weight loss. So you guys have an open channel communication with Google, like, to revise an ad, like why it didn't get accepted and,
Yeah.
make it accepted.
Yes, exactly. In fact, not only do we have a connection with Google, Google does two core major updates every single year. They just did one this month. You can look this up. This is all published on Google and any marketing SEO site. Our websites automatically update towards the new algorithms every single year because we're a premier partner. That's a perk that we get with that. Because we are a premier partner, I can tell you that the cost per click for ads for medical weight loss is going to be way closer towards this end than the $8.40 that someone could be paying if they're working with an independent company or an independent contractor who doesn't have this level of partnership.
So that's the major difference then. You guys are able, I mean, you guys are continuously working with Google as a Google Premier partner and, with your clients to keep lowering the cost per click, in essence, to make your client more money. When you keep lowering that cost per click and cost per acquisition, et cetera, it's an ongoing basis because Google is always evolving and you guys are always evolving too.
Exactly. And that's another thing to keep in mind too. Now that we're on the top of on the topic of evolving, I mean, the internet is going to continue to evolve. What I will say long term, and I also, I give, classes to different states and conferences about how they should build business strategy. One of the biggest key points that I like to stress out as well, when we're thinking about long term, thus in terms of marketing, where you want to be the most visible, Google is going to be your long term investment. That should be something you should be investing now anyway. Social media is important. It is very much relevant, but there's always competitors that are competing in social media. And one of the easiest testaments to that is TikTok. Facebook was prominent, Instagram was prominent, now TikTok blew up this past year. And you're going to always see those shifts in social media. That's why we always say, yes, incorporate them, but don't spend all your money on social media because there's no up and coming competitor with Google right now. And in fact, it's safe to say that they're the #1 search engine in the whole world, and they're probably going to be that for a really long time. So the last thing I just want to touch base on the Google ad for you guys is that
I agree though. I agree. Sorry to cut you, but I agree with you. Yeah. Social media it's social and it does change. And I think people who go on, we read a lot about this. When you go on Google Ads or when you do a Google ad campaign, people are searching, like you're pushing people in. With social media, you're pulling them, you're sort of interrupting their social media feed or whatever. And when looking at cat pictures on Facebook and Google Ads, people are they are searching for your Google ad click are because of people searching for you, like that's what they want.
No, I agree. I agree 100% with you. Actually, I would even say an easy way to remember it, just the differences between social media and Google, because they're two different things. Like they're not the same thing at all. Social media, like Facebook and Instagram, they're consumer engagement platforms. Like you said, they're meant for people's behavior to engage with the likes, the shares, etc. Google is a consumer information platform. They give us information. It's not meant to create necessarily like a feed where you're seeing likes and shares. It's meant to give you information that you want. So Google just has been very lucky to monetize that market, and no one's been able to outcompete them right now. So, yeah. So my thing with this is that if you are going to run a Google ad campaign, just make sure you're working with someone that's been verified by Google and that has been able to run a campaign successfully, because it can be very expensive, and you don't want to spend too much money on something that may absolutely cost you more in the long run because
you're not being efficient.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, efficiency kills.
Exactly. So the next thing I want to talk to you about now is the next components of Google that are important. So this is just one option. I recommend the Google ad section to anybody who's looking for immediate results, someone who's looking for traffic now, someone who also needs to bring awareness to their brand, especially if they're in a high-performing chiropractic area where there's so many chiropractors down the street, and their name is not the one that's popping up because they haven't been around as long. This is also a really good area for the younger chiropractors who are kind of stepping into the field of the internet, and they just opened up a practice. This is absolutely a really good starting point for them.
Oh,
Typically what we
because so that, the younger chiropractors, so that they could, they could push themselves into the market pretty much. They need those. Let's face it. So we need ads today, like Google. Like if you're starting off, there's just no point in just having a website. Like it's nothing having a website. You need the ads to get started pretty much. You need to, you need to pay to build your business, at least initially.
Exactly. You're absolutely correct. Now, the other thing though, I apologize, Gus. I am getting a little bit sick, so if my random coughs just happen there every once in a while.
That's okay. If you want, you can take a couple of minutes break if you want.
Oh, no, we're fine. I was just saying if I do cough, my apologies, give me a heads up.
Oh, it's okay.
So the Google ad here, that's a great strategy. The other thing I just wanted to show you as I'm going to wrap up Google ad, because it can't be very linked. I wanted to show you this here.
Are you about Google ads? Are you including Google retargeting? When those banners follow you around, like, isn't that like much cheaper as well than, like, I think it's called Google retargeting ads?
Yeah, we know it as geo-targeting, but it's the same thing.
Okay.
It's absolutely, we do. And that's exactly what I'm going to talk to you about. So what we do is in Orlando, because it is a very populated city, we probably would be willing to extend our ads up to a 30-mile radius in a large city like Orlando. And what geo-targeting really, primarily the end goal of that is to be phishing. So if your practice is located, let's say in zip code 12345, just hypothetically, and then there's several other zip codes within your area that are within that 30-mile radius. We're putting your ad in other people's zip codes. So even if there's a chiropractor that's dominating that area, the most well-known one, if someone who's dealing with back pain problems is, or looking for immediate weight loss journeys or weight loss solutions, etc., and they see that your ad, they're very much likely going to click on your ad first, because based off data, the Google Ads section right now currently is generating 45% of clicks on the first page of Google, above the other two sections that I'm going to cover with you guys. But
could you repeat that? So 45% of ads of clicks go to the first two at the top?
Yes, exactly. So visually, let me see my mouse. Visually, this ad section is going to generate 45% of clicks out of the gate. Just based off data, based off human behavior, which is the fact that most people access information through their cell phones. Google just projected that 80% of people right now utilize cell phones to access information overall. Based off the Google ad performance of that 45% of clicks, most of those 45% of clicks are actually coming from people who are utilizing their cell phones. So for us, it's very, very important to know those facts and know that most people are utilizing cell phones nowadays for information. So it's safe to say that this ad section is absolutely very popular, actually absolutely very effective. It just has to be done properly. The conversion factors that we need to implement for us is we geo-target within a 30-mile radius. We don't even have to go that far if it's not necessary. We would include a landing page, call tracking number to edit and record all of those calls so that you can hold us accountable if leads aren't coming in, or we can hold ourselves, to get credit where credit is due if we're the one that is driving that traffic. We included constant reminders on that landing page to call you, because that's the whole point. Reviews, where you're located, again, to call you. This is included in all of our marketing campaigns for conversion factors with the Google Ads. So this is what's going to help make sure that people who are clicking on your ad are actually calling, which is usually the biggest telling factor whether or not your company that you're working with is actually doing their job, if people are actually making it to the phone.
Everything is being tracked.
Exactly. Yeah, it's tracked for us and it's tracked for you.
Are you guys sharing with your customer, like, because I know sometimes not all chiropractors, not all, they don't always have the time to, like, say, possibly get on a Zoom call and talk about, maybe you guys explain to them which pages are ranking the most on their website and what they need to focus on, because you don't want to have the, the business owner, which being the chiropractor in this case, say, hey, listen, I'm paying for all these clicks, but people are not converting.
Yes. Exactly. You're absolutely right. I mean, the problem is they are paying for all these clicks, but they're not taking the necessary factors to ensure conversion. And at that, um, they're just not working with a verified agency. And that's the thing that I always want to remind people too, is that we've already been through our trial and error period. And we've been doing this for 20 years. We've already had our screwed up moments where we made mistakes or we had to figure it out. And then when we became a premier partner, we just leveled up our information. Where they started vetting that to us, and we just became a little bit more tailored and specific and more a client focused on what we're looking to achieve. It made our jobs much easier. So I agree with you in what you're saying. Um, but if you have any maybe last minute questions on the Google Ads section, I definitely wanted to show you the second thing.
No, go ahead.
But
I'm good with the Google AdWords.
okay. So, and if you have anything that pop up too, Gus, let me know, and we'll jump right back into it. Everything can be very much linked, and I can talk about it forever, to be honest. But this map area right here is a good area as well to monetize. But really what this is just going to boil down to for practices who are looking to be on this map area, it's really just going to be making sure that all of your information is consistent across the board. And what we mean by that is the name of your business, the address, the phone number needs to be absolutely uniform and the exact same across every directory listing, across every online site that has your information. And if it's not, it's creating problems for the map area. So Google's not going to give you, like, they're not going to choose you to be on the top 3 spots here because your information is not consistent.
So what are we looking at here? So right here, so when you optimize this, do you mean with SEO, or do you mean this is not Google, this is not ads, right? Like we're looking at these first 3 here.
Great question. This is not ads at all. This is not Google ads at all. This is strictly SEO. You have to absolutely have consistent information to even get on this map section here.
So that's why your services, you're pretty much working on a holistic approach to get all these things done. Google AdWords, the Facebook. This could be exhausting for some smaller business owners who want to focus on just their practice and do what they're good at. At the same time, it's a business and you have all these things you have to do.
Oh yeah, it's not only is it super exhausting, it's time consuming from their own personal life. I mean, that's the thing is that, running a business and treating patients all day and then have to spend hours after work to run marketing and run how to strategize on the first page of Google, you would run yourself crazy, honestly. You would have no absolutely free time for yourself. So, that's why agencies like ourselves exist, because we're taking all that back end work off people who primarily want to do what they love, which is treat patients. I mean, most of these, chiropractors that I work with didn't go to school for marketing. Most of them that I've spoken to don't even like it. They don't care for it. All they really care about is helping people. I care about working with Google and bringing visibility, building patient relationships. So it works in tangent and type of relationship we're looking to build with our clients. So yeah, there's a lot of components that Google takes into account that we are aware about and that we relate to our clients to see if this is an interest to them. In this area, primarily, we just need to make sure that all of your information is consistent. The other thing that I want to stress out as well too, Gus, is that if you're a practice right now that is not getting reviews, that's not being proactive about reviews, especially in the weight loss nutrition industry, you're absolutely missing out on a big demographic. You're also missing out on free marketing, because reviews are absolutely important, especially for people who are looking at a weight loss clinic who is these people are going to literally look at reviews. There they are, especially people who've tried it all and failed, who've been recommended certain methods and it didn't work for them. These people are going to read reviews and they're going to make sure that who they're going to go see next has a higher percentage of chance of bringing them success in their health. So reviews are important. We also provide survey tools that allow people to review practices and narrate them. So, and what we mean by that is we can actually control the narrative by putting out a questionnaire from, let's say that a client is treated 10 weight loss patients in the morning. We'll send out a survey to them. There'll be a questionnaire. Based off that questionnaire, if they grade them, and the score is 1 through 10, but if the score is lower than 8, we are not going to give them a link to Google. We will open up a little chat box, and that chat box is going to give the patient the opportunity to give you feedback on why maybe you did not get a 5-star. And it's going to stop them from going to Google and sharing like a 4-star or 3-star, because ultimately, from a business perspective, we really just want 5 stars across the board.
I see.
Now, if
Yeah.
that's what we want, exactly. And then if they rate you 8 and higher, what we'll do is we'll give them a link to Google, and it will immediately take them to your Google My Business account, and it'll give them the option to give them a Google review. This service and product delivery is mobile responsive, so it's very user friendly, and it's very the engagement on it's pretty high from our clients. So reviews is just something that every practice should be focusing on, not just because weight loss is very prominent in that specific niche, but overall reviews are just very important. And that's also how you land on this map area.
It sounds like a good, a good email, like an email blast. Are you collecting reviews in the subject line with a question mark? Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. No, for sure. And it's and we all so even if patients have like thousands of patient emails, we upload all that information. We get everything ready and done for them, so that whenever the email communications or the recall systems or automation software systems, however you want to call it, that we use and utilize for our clients, make that process super easy for them. But any questions on the map area, Gus, before I jump into the last section?
No, we're good. Let's keep going.
All right. So for medical weight loss near mean, again, I'm just using one term as an example to kind of discuss with you options that people have and what they could be doing for their practice to maximize visibility. The last area of opportunity for people is what is known as SEO, search engine optimization. And for medical weight loss near me in Orlando, Florida, this is the first practice that's popping up on Google for weight loss. So let's take a look at who they are.
Is it one of the reasons because their name is like, it's similar to medical weight loss? Like it's a bit like, it's Medi weight loss, but it's nearly medical weight loss?
So there's actually over 200 factors, Gus, as to why that could be. But one of the main factors that's most likely why they're ranking number one is their title of their business as Weight Loss Incorporated, which means that their Google My Business very much likely does as well. And the content on their site is probably one of the main reasons. So whenever we think about medical weight loss, this is the number one contender. He's probably going to generate most of the traffic. Then as we scroll down, we have another practice that's the number 2 spot. And then here is a directory listing. So whenever we think about Google search engine optimization, content is going to be the absolutely key factor to ranking on Google for keywords. Content is absolutely key. Now, when we mean by content too, Gus, we don't want you guys to be copying and pasting published journals from, resource libraries that you guys have, that chiropractors or doctors or practitioners have access to. What we mean is writing content that has custom value in the sense of the keywords that are incorporated on the content piece are not necessarily long scientific keywords. They're keywords that have high volumes within that zip code area, but that also correlate to weight loss and weight gain, fat loss, etc. That's the type of content that we're writing. All of the content that we produce for our clients is custom and it's published and owned under their business name. So even if they decided to end our business relationship, all of the content that we produce for them, they will be able to take with whoever they want because they paid for it.
Original content in a way.
Yes, and it will be licensed under the name. Technically, they could even publish it on like a published journal if they wanted to.
Understood.
But the catch with SEO is, and this is to be transparent and clear, is that SEO, unfortunately, even for us who are Google Premier partners, as much as we would love for you guys to get you guys ranked on the first page of Google right away, it's just not going to happen. Unfortunately, it just won't happen. Any company that's promising you first page of Google overnight or within a couple of months is absolutely lying to you, and they're absolutely just trying to gain business. The truth is, with SEO, it's going to take a good 6 months, possibly 8 months, could even take much longer depending on how competitive the market is. But 6 to 8 months is a really good, safe point for us to project. Because
so that's with Google. So okay, to recap. So let's say today, Orlando, we open a weight loss center. If we do only SEO, it'll take maybe 8 months to a year, if not, maybe a little bit longer, to rank to be on the first page. Now, correct?
Yeah, that's exactly correct. Be on the first page on the SEO section.
On the SEO section, okay. And what if we put Google Ads to,
at the same time?
At the same time.
Well, ideally, that's what you would want to do. So ideally, the best business strategy is implementing an SEO campaign, but because everyone knows that it takes time, and that's another thing too that I remind people is if you are looking to do SEO, if you're finally ready to rank on the first page of Google, you really need to be in it for the long run. If you're going to hire a company, you're only going to give them 3 months, 2 months to perform. You not only are wasting your money, you're wasting their time. So whenever you're thinking about SEO, you need to go in there in the mindset, I'm in a financial position to wait and reap the benefits. But what we can do for us creatively to reap, for a more of a return for clients is implementing a Google ad campaign at the same time that we're building an SEO campaign. That's going to be the best way to implement a business marketing campaign. But
got it.
Some people just can't allocate 2 campaigns, and that's completely fine. And they really do care about just their SEO, and they're willing to reap the benefits. The con with the SEO is just that it's just the time is going to be super long, which is unfortunate. And I can't do anything about it. Wish we could. It's just that's what Google has laid out. The pro, though, to SEO is that it's sustainable. So 45% of clicks come from here, 20% of clicks come from here, and then the last 35% of clicks will come from the SEO section.
Wow, 45, 20, 35.
Mm-hmm. And what we mean by sustainability, Gus, is that once you've put in the work, once you've really stuck it out and you've been consistent and you've been writing content on your site that pertains to the industry and the target audience that you're looking to attract, then you're pretty much like buying real estate. Think of the Google Ads section like renting space, like renting an apartment. After you put a certain amount of money and it drains out, that campaign is no longer going to be there. SEO is like buying mortgage. You're buying real estate. Once you paid and you put in the content, etc., to be here for a really long time, and you've invested.
Is that what like with the I think I've read something like, is that called evergreen, like evergreen SEO and stuff?
Pretty much. Or think an easy way too as well, Gus, is like think of it like a credit score. You know how with credit scores you can't jump to 800 right away. It takes a really long time, and it takes groundwork, it takes consistency, it takes patience.
Yeah.
SEO is the exact same way. But the pro to it is that it is more sustainable. Once you get to the first page of Google for any keyword, it is absolutely hard to remove you. The only way that you will be removed is if someone outworks you and if someone outperforms you. That is the only way. But even then, let's say that they hire the best company who's working 48 hours or an exaggerated amount of time. No matter how hard they work, the time to get to the first page of Google is the exact same for everyone.
Let me ask you something hypothetically. Hypothetically, let's say tomorrow, all of a sudden, one of these weight loss centers or somebody that's on the second page, they get featured on CNN and they get featured on Good Morning America, on ABC. Something happens. Would that backlink, would that increase their SEO higher? Was that something, would press release help you guys and help the customer get them, because I read once, the quality of SEO or the quality of backlinks, is what Google likes. You could write content every week, but then if you get, let's say, featured on a news station, that backlink, that will because it's reputable, it's very credible, that Google will think, oh, this weight loss center is important, that, let's push them up.
Yes, you actually, I'm glad you brought up press releases, Gus, because it's true. So even for us, and whenever we run an SEO campaign, we actually put out 2 press releases, month 3 and month 6, that we publish out as well, because it helps for Google's purposes. And we write content every single month. The first month we actually put out 3 content pieces. So what you actually are, you're actually spot on exactly what you said, to be honest, on how the SEO should be implemented and how it would have the effects. So yeah, it's just because there is over 200 factors to help boost your SEO.
That's
it's
one
kind
of
of
the
hard to lay.
factors.
Yeah, exactly. Since there's so many, it's hard to lay out all of them. But the ones that are the most effective are content. I mean, content is actually the #1 key component to ranking you higher. And content is this, by the way. It's this right here. So for nutrition, let's look at this up. Look, weight loss. We're writing all this content for weight loss. Let's say weight loss frequently asked questions. For he's located in San Antonio, Texas, which is also fairly populated. I think there's like 1 million. I think the demographic is like about 1 million people, to be honest. He actually ranks on the first page of Google. And let me show you that. So you can see that even for us, sorry. So even for us who are a Google Premier partner, Dr. Phillips, he still ranks even in a very highly populated area, which is like 1 million people. Let's see. I don't know if it's popping up in the zip code area. Pull it up.
He has a lot of content. Like there's a lot of articles there. There's a lot of stuff there.
No, he does. He does very, very well for himself. Sorry, let me set this up for you.
And I also understand it has to be helpful too. Like you can't just put any content there. Like it has to be helpful content that people read.
No, it does. It has to be content that is engaging. So, and I'm kind of like jumping around. So let me just get back to the content piece. That's actually the point that I was trying to make. But here, before I get sidetracked, I have so many thoughts in my head. So I'm trying to not get things confusing. Let me just get back to this where I was originally at. So the content piece here for weight loss frequently asked questions, we include like meta titles, which is what isn't, I guess, what would be considered a high search in that zip code area, which is what I was looking for in a second, and I just gave up on it. I want to cover this anyway. And then we incorporated questions that have a lot of focus based off weight loss factors, and that's what we indexed. So as you can see here, like this content piece that we wrote is not like a lengthy content piece, not like an elongated, published scientific keywords by any means. It's just keywords that have high volume. The problem is most people don't know which keywords have high volume. So it's where agencies like us exist, where we're implementing that, and then we start indexing them so that they are being found within their zip code area. So that is an example of that, and that's the type of content that we would be writing for all of our clients, to be honest. Here's even one on just weight loss, San Antonio chiropractor, etc. And we could be writing content beyond just weight loss. We could do wellness, nutrition, whatever the case may be. It just depends on them and what they want. But any questions for me, Gus, before I
think
pretty
so
much
far,
at the finish line here.
No, I understand how this goes. If we were to discuss something like, specific, like let's say, if somebody were to start off, let's say again in Orlando, is there a recommended budget? Like, do they ask you like how much should I spend, how much money can I make, or like what do you recommend? What would be the question you would ask?
Well, honestly, the thing is the state of, I would even go as far as the state of Florida probably has the most competitive chiropractors besides like other states in the East Coast. Florida is just super competitive. Everyone's spending a lot of money.
Everyone's
So it's
down
hard
there.
for me
Like
to,
everyone's going down for the weather too, I guess. Yeah.
yeah, everyone wants to be number one. So big picture, I would say you definitely need to have a pretty big budget, but also some
Tell
practices
you
are already,
Tell you what, sorry to
yeah,
cut you off. Let's say, okay, how about we use somewhere else if we can do this in just a 5 minute exercise. Like let's say Chattanooga, Tennessee. Like there would be, weight loss can't be as competitive as Orlando because it's a smaller city and it could be like definitely the Google AdWords would be cheaper per click. And that could be something that you guys could maybe blow out quicker than other cases. Another quick question I wanted to ask you, since I'm thinking of that, is that when working with you guys, I know we're coming towards the end. When working with you guys, is like are cities different? Like do you like Orlando would be much bigger than let's say Chattanooga. Um, is it the same work involved for both that you guys
oh
do?
yeah, yes, absolutely. Like even if that's actually a good question because even if you're like in a city of like 60,000 and we're running marketing for you, excuse me, and then we're like in a city in Orlando that's like millions of people, the amount of dedication and work and supervision, depending on who you're working with, and how they have you structured their marketing campaign, the allotted time for the client is the exact same, no matter what the population. What will be different is the budget. And so if we're looking at, and this would even go for Chattanooga and Orlando, I mean, if you're looking to invest a good healthy checkpoint at a low end, we're looking at close to like at least $700 a month. If you're looking to implement like a Google ad campaign or possibly like an SEO campaign, if you want to be super aggressive and you want to dominate your area, you need to think about doubling that budget and implementing two campaigns, which could lead up to $1,500 up to more, depending on how much you can actually finance. Everyone is in a different financial position. It's also hard for me to predict because COVID did occur last year. Some people did very well and some people didn't. So we also want to be budget friendly for everybody. And we can't implement minor campaigns that are even lower than $700 a month. But I don't recommend them just simply because they're going to require like over a year before you do very well with them. And if you're in a position to invest a little bit more, then why not? Why not get started? Why not start reaping the benefits? It's all about beginning anyway. Because whether you do it today whether you decide not to do it today and you're a younger chiropractor in 2 years, maybe next year, you're going to end up doing it because someone is going to tell you how important it is. Someone's finally going to ingrain into you the importance of the internet, and you're going to finally believe in it. And that's something that we kind of have learned. Some of the things that we've been preaching these past 10 years about the importance of utilizing the internet. This is the best time to do it. Most people are accessing it now. And whenever we got put into these closed doors because of COVID, that's all we had was like the internet. All we had was our phones, and pain problems didn't go away. COVID didn't alleviate back pain. It didn't just cure all those problems that people were already dealing with. What it did is it gave people more opportunities to raise questions about their health, and they started monetizing these businesses by implementing a strong digital footprint. So
Makes sense.
yeah, budget wise, I would say $700, $1,500 to be safe. It could be a little bit higher depending on how aggressive you want to be. So that's kind of a good point to kind of project.
That's good to know.
In terms of lead generation, if that's kind of also what you're asking about expectations for that, we are looking at least on this top section here. If you're in a smaller area, we're looking at maybe like 6 to 11 quality leads. We're not talking about people who are looking for a cheap promotion or like a cheap back pain treatment. We're looking for a quality patient. 6 to 11 in a small city. If we're in a large city like Orlando, you're looking at probably double that, maybe close to 10 to 15, maybe more. I don't want to overpromise because we only quote national based off the 13,000 chiropractors that we work with.
It's a work in progress. It's a work in progress. I think you have to start and then you see what keywords are working best, where the patient is going to on their website, and you need to talk to the customer and the chiropractor and say, hey, listen, these pages are being optimized, or they're staying 3 seconds here, and and there maybe you need some more information. There is a little bit of a there's maybe shaky ground, but it's very experimental. So I don't think that's a big problem. I think if you're gonna get if someone would get started with Google AdWords, I think 700 is a good it is a good number if you want to start off, because I mean that's for a chiropractor. They've got bills to pay, they've got patients, so it is a good number to work off of. I think so
Yeah,
too.
no, it is. And then also you have to think about it too. So let's assume that you're running a Google ad campaign and excuse me, and let's just say you see, I don't know, 7, 8 new patients from it. If the owner of the clinic does a great job on that patient, those 8 patients could refer another person, which can in turn be.
So when you say, sorry to cut you off, so when you say 7 to 8 new patients, you're saying like these patients are people, like these aren't clicks. These are people who show up to the clinic, like their customer, maybe cost per acquisition, so to speak, like they get there, they're actually face to face. These are 7 unique people who actually walk to the clinic. Or are these 7 people who filled out a form, or just 7 people who called in?
It's so on the hypothetical number of 7 to 8, just because that's kind of what I was going to use as an example for what I was going to explain. 7 to 8 is, so our lead generation posts are based off people who make it to the phone. They literally call your office and requesting an appointment and they pick up. Now,
Okay.
whether or not they make it to the door, that is going to be up to the clinic. I mean, if they're friendly on the phone, if the secretary gets them booked up on a time that's convenient based off their problems, their pain management issues, we can't control that factor. Because we're not the ones picking up the phone. And believe it or not, I've had to deal with some clients before who don't have friendly front desks, and they go somewhere else. So our job is just to get them to the phone. At that point, it's up to you guys to make sure they're getting booked out as soon as possible.
Make sure they're being sold correctly, the program is explained, and maybe they book them in the next day.
Exactly.
And not far in advance. Yeah.
Yeah. And plus, we can't track who's actually making it in the door unless the doctor shares that information with us. And they're almost too busy to even go to that level with us, until our marketing meeting happens every month. That's another thing. If you run marketing with us, everyone's running marketing for you. They're doing all the work, but you're also meeting with us on a monthly basis, if not more. Not only are we telling you what's happening, we're actually showing you how it works and how it needs to be done. While other companies don't like to share their strategies, we do. We like to educate. That's why we get invited to almost every state conference for business strategy, because we share information. We're not hogging it. We're sharing it with chiropractors so they can be educated. So whenever they are getting these smaller, marketing companies who don't really know what they're doing, and they're talking to them and giving them an opportunity to have an open discussion, they're already well aware that their approach is not working. And that's not how it actually works.
Small to medium-sized businesses need that. They need to know what's going on so as not to so they know which questions to ask, and they need to be continuously educated. They're not the same as big corporations with big budgets and dedicated people that you work with. It makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of what I have set up for you guys. I do have over 40 scans that you guys can select from. I think you have our site, and you'll be able to look through all of that. The last feature actually that I meant to show you here is we do have an analytics dashboard that you would have access to. This is a demo site, so all these numbers these aren't real numbers, but in other words, what I'm saying, because I can't actually show you that.
Oh, okay. So this is the dashboard of a doctor's website. This is what they see.
Yeah, this is the back end of what they can see. They'll see how many visitors are on the site. Unique visits would be people who've never been to it before. The bounce rate, the average time on the site, pages per visit, page views. They have the ability to have blog on their own. This is that survey tool I was talking to you about, where they get to grade the experience at the clinic. If it's an 8 or higher score, we'll give them a link to Google. And it just shows you like the process to do that. And we do publish 2 newsletters twice a month for all of our clients. Here's the questionnaire question. We have newsletters that we publish twice a month for our clients, and then we also have a card system as well that you can utilize for email communication tools for birthdays, welcome, thank you, etc. We also have video exercises. This works really well for our sports clinics, our rehab clinics. And what they'll do is, it's, those people who are like, look, hey doc, what can I do at home to help speed up my recovery? They could send them at home prescribed exercises. Sorry.
Oh, that's pretty neat. Okay, that's good.
And arms, elbows. I'm just gonna select this random one just to kind of make it quick for you.
So this is like a learning portal. It's like an LMS, like a learning management. This is a system where because it's chiropractic, you guys have all this information already. Like you're giving somebody new who's getting started all these tools that they can just implement.
Yeah, we're literally giving them all the tools, especially if they're new, even if they've been in business for 20 years. Believe it or not, there's a lot of chiropractors that I've worked with who don't even have websites, don't have no visibility, who still kind of have an archaic way of marketing. And this is our product is meant for all ranges of business, whether it's new or not. I think what makes our product and our marketing unique is that we tailor every single practice based off what their needs are. And I think that's very important because some practices are very successful and they don't need a lot of marketing. They just need to be rebranded properly. Some practices have a strong brand within their community, but but they're not being found for the type of patient and the type of services that they offer. So it just varies 100% on what is necessary on their needs and their wants. We also offer online booking. I forgot to bring this up because there's just so much that we offer. It's in respect, I might slip a few things or not of what I can cover. But we
can that be modified? Like that new patient booking, can that be like, let's say new, let's say depending on the service of the chiropractor, or is it just new patient booking?
It's just new patient booking. So the way that it would work is so let's say that there's 3 chiropractors in the office and one of them focus on nutrition, one focus on pain problems. Excuse me. They will just select, new patient exam. They'll select the provider, and then the provider's times will open up. And then let's say they click 11 o'clock, and they'll click continue, and then they'll fill out like all of their information, and they'll click submit booking. Now, what's going to happen at that point, though, is just because they submitted they booked an appointment online, doesn't necessarily that the appointment is confirmed. So what that's going to do is as soon as it's booked, it's going to give them an email notification to the one that they assign it to. Most of my practices assign it to like the office managers, and she's the one that spends more time on the computer moving around the office. Then the office manager is going to see that email, and then she's going to have a link where it's going to allow her to confirm. Once she clicks confirm, it's going to send back that patient the email and say, hey, your appointment is confirmed at 11 a.m. And then it's now a solid appointment. So it needs to be confirmed on the clinic's end first, or on their end lastly, before it's like a full on appointment. It's just what this tool, online booking, does, Gus. It just gives people options. It gives people who don't have time to call, who don't care to call, who don't like being on the phone. It just, the more options we can provide for a clinic to be able to have a booked appointment, the more percentage that your conversion is going to increase. So this is also offered on all of our programs.
What about the email? Like, is it going through a provider like MailChimp, or is that through you?
So the email is integrated to depending on which PMS system they're using. So most chiropractors use like ChiroTouch. So it does have to integrate with.
Oh, okay. So they can use ChiroTouch. So it's through ChiroTouch too. It just integrates
with ChiroTouch. But even if they didn't use ChiroTouch, it could still be used as a non-integrated feature. There will just be like an added step on their end, and that's it. So that is pretty much, I think that's almost all the features that I've covered. I can't think of any other one that I may have missed. Any maybe last minute questions for me, Gus?
No, we covered everything. I think one of the things that we'd like to know is for our providers, what kind of specials would you guys offer them through us?
Oh, yes. Glad you brought that up. So after I did speak with my director, I did tell him about, so we actually spoke about you guys yesterday, what you guys are doing. And we have worked with, excuse me, with companies very similar to you. And just because we have a wide range of clients, what we can do for you guys is we can actually offer you guys 50% off the first 2 months. So any program that you decide to be on, this is actually very beneficial for anybody who's running marketing. We're willing to give you guys half off of the same value for the first 2 months for any program that you decide to be on with us.
50% off for the first 2 months. That's good.
Exactly.
So the first 2 months, everyone can see, you know, at a discounted rate, they could see how you guys work, and they can benefit, you know, they can benefit a lot from, I mean, learning all of this. I mean, this is a lot of stuff.
Exactly. And then the best part about it as well, there's no setup costs. A lot of companies will charge you like 3,000, 2,000 to get everything set up. We're not, we know the value of our product. We don't even need to charge setups to make a profit. We work with literally with 13,000 chiropractors who run marketing with us. So it's safe to say we know what we're doing. We just need people to, like, in other words, I guess, know about us and know what we do, and then understand that we're a good fit for their model. Most people who join ChiroMatrix, we have a 92% retention rate. So that means most people who join our marketing actually.
That's high. That's good to know. A 92% retention rate.
And then, yeah. And then
they can contact you directly.
Yes. So what I can do, Gus, is I can send you an email if I haven't already. You could just either pass it on, or I could just kind of send you another one, however you'd like. But my number is 858-888-7569. So that's my direct line to my office. And that's, again, 858-888-7569. And then my email, I'll just share it with you. And then anybody who might be interested in having a more tailored conversation about their practice and what we could be doing with SOZA or weight loss, because it's a very good niche to be in right now. And weight loss, a lot of people weight gaining, a lot of people trying to get fit for the summer, etc. The campaigns would be a really good time to be running right now. So I kind of leave that up to you to kind of anybody else who would want to reach out to me and have a more in-depth convo. Hopefully this was informative, Gus. I try to keep it very minimal in less than an hour, but I think there's just so much information that is accessible right now on the internet. It's kind of hard to kind of keep it within an hour, without an hour range. So.
No, this is important. We needed to get these things out of the way, and I can trickle down the information and show people that, you know, these providers of ours, that you guys, that they will be in good hands, and they will be helped, and that you guys can help. And I think the biggest thing is it's not just that you guys can help. I'm confident that you guys can adapt to any situation, because weight loss is also always evolving in terms of Google, social media. There are always things changing, ads get rejected, and, you know, they need to be in, you know, with someone who can figure out what went wrong, how to fix it, how to double down, how to, you know, how to modify, and then ultimately get things, you know, cheaper and increase profitability for the company.
Exactly. No, absolutely. And, you know, even for us with our experience, I really appreciate you saying the part about being adaptable, because it's true. We're not a perfect company by any means. And because the internet is continuously evolving, we have to keep in mind that that's just something that you want to hire the right agency that's prepared for that moment of like evolving or shifting trends or new shifts in the internet. So I just think for us, because we've been doing this for 20 years, we've already made a lot of errors in the past in our early stages, that right now we're an agency that's considered that runs a lower risk when people invest in marketing in comparison to other people who've only been around for a few years. We literally have a decade in the hands in terms of what we're doing. And I think being in the industry still 20 years is kind of safe to say we're pretty successful at it, to be honest.
Well, thank you for your time, Alejandro. This has been very helpful.
Absolutely. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. Other than that, it's been a pleasure. Okay, as well, if you have any other questions for me, you have my contact, and we could, hop on another call and I can reiterate or kind of reconfirm or clarify anything that you might come up with.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Take care.
Bye-bye.